for the murder of crows. You got to admit, right? Murder of crows. We see. Symbiosis. All right. So the Pakenham Lawyer set up a positive good theory of slavery, but then the election got in the way. So Texas was huge, but it's during an election year. Did we mention Van Buren?
Yeah. They said
And what?
Free soil.
And free soil means no slavery where? Yeah, they're not necessarily abolitionists, but to the Southern point of view, there's no difference between a free soiler and an abolitionist.
Didn't the Southern Democrats say no because of it?
Yeah, they nixed it. He nearly won. He got the majority.
To be a representative?
No, actually to become the presidential nominee.
Yes. Okay, that's right.
But it required 2/3 of a vote at the Democratic Convention. It'd be like that till 1933. So Southerners basically had a veto. So we got, I think, 64% of the delegates. But that's not 67. So, and eventually then he lost. Did we get to a dark horse?
We got to James Knox.
And called him a dark horse, right? All right. So there's Knox, Young Hickory. His running mate would be George Dallas. We all know it's named after Dallas, right? No, I don't think so. I've never heard of that. But I'm sure there's other towns. Yeah, actually, you're exactly right. It was Dallas, Texas. And he looks a lot like Martha Washington in that picture. And Polk, since he had no real history, he was Speaker of the House, but in fact, he's the only person ever to be elected president from Speaker of the House. Rarely do we get somebody from the House or the Senate elected, because they have to make too many votes. He didn't have that many. Yeah.
Why was it called the dark horse?
Dark horse, it's a racehorse term. It means a horse that nobody expected to win. And so no one expected him to get the nominations. He was unknown. Dark means he's out of the light. So he unknown candidate. And so this will happen, known by a few, but not seen as a very powerful candidate before. John Kennedy is a good example. Barack Obama had basically no real voting record. He had only been in the Senate for a year and a half when he announced his running for president. So it really helped him by not having a record. You can create your own record. And he came up with, remember Tippecanoe Canoe and Tyler Canoe? Now everyone's doing slogans for their image. This is his slogan. 54, 40, or fight. It's a tough slogan. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. Did someone put 44? That was me. I was talking to somebody. I was trying to multitask.
How are you supposed to be then? Who? Like that?
Yeah, I just,
Which one's right?
actually it should be 54 degrees, 44 like that. But I didn't know what the little degree button was, so I didn't put it in. I put a comma. But 54, 40, or 5. Or 5, yeah. And what it was manifest destiny. The whole basic idea was manifest destiny, but it's implying that we're going to take all of Oregon. The contested area of Oregon went from the 54-40 latitude down to the Mexican border. And so it implies we'll get the whole thing. It took advantage of the anti-British feeling. But part of it is, oh yeah, we're going to get Texas and California too. Texas and California were very important in Polk's campaign. But especially Texas is controversial. Let's focus on Oregon. It's very clever. Whigs are still going to try to say that Polk was purely for Texas. But now Oregon, California, Texas, America will expand, manifest destiny. Just like the Whigs in 1840. Distract from the main issues. So everybody started doing politicking like this. Yeah.
So is this all like a part of Polk's campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He had other issues, but this is key. 54, 40, or 5. Now the Whigs, once again, Henry Clay. Henry Clay thought this is his time. After trying basically 2.5 other times, he's going to get it again.
2.5?
Well, he wanted to be. He wanted to run again in 1836, but he was just too controversial.
I feel like people didn't vote for him because they thought, oh, somebody else will vote for him. I'll make somebody else feel better.
Yeah, you're kind of right. He's been around for a long time. Yeah.
I'm confused on what the 54, 40, or 5 is.
54, 40, or 5. 54, it's 54, 40 degrees latitude, and that's the northern border of Oregon Territory. And so the idea is we'll take all of Oregon, or fight Britain to
What's the lower border? Isn't it the lower border?
What just happened? Did my water bottle fall? Oh, my lunch fell.
Wait, isn't 5440 the lower?
5440 is the northern one. The 49th parallel would become the border. This is 49th. This is 54. Basically, it's a tough position, even though, no, he doesn't really want to go to war with Britain. Now, Clay and the Whigs, it's once again the American system. He's going to get his American system. Remember, tariff, bank, internal improvements. Yeah, 54.
Oh, it's down there.
Oh, it's between 54, 40, and 42, which is here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So was Henry Clay the other nominee?
Yeah, Clay's the nominee for the Whigs.
And his partner was who?
Frelinghuysen! No, you don't need to know Frelinghuysen.
Oh, okay.
But it is a great name, Frelinghuysen. Say it, it's fun. It rolls off the tongue.
What's her name?
Zebulon, fluoride. Frelinghuysen.
And, oh, Zebulon and what was his brother's name? There's one more. Zebulon and Zebulon.
Yeah, it was another C,
Fluoride.
wasn't it?
No, it's something good. Zebulon, fluoride, Frelinghuysen.
So once again, though, if you do have children's, Frelinghuysen.
Lickety Lane.
Part of the New York Frelinghuysen.
Remember we talked about that?
Well,
I want to know the names.
but he had no real, well, he had a very bad position on it. He tried to straddle the fence on Texas. Because Northern Whigs were very much opposed to Texas. Very much opposed to it. Basically what Clay said is, we'll annex Texas if Mexico allows it. You know, Mexico didn't want it, so it's kind of a non-position. So Clay never got the position right on Texas. He's kind of in a lose-lose here. But there's a third party. We already mentioned him once before. The Liberty Party would run, once again, the abolitionist James Birney. This is an abolitionist party. This is the Anti-Slavery Almanac next to Birney. And the point was, it's only in the North, but it's a growing party, infuriating the South. There's never going to be many abolitionists in the North, even up through the Civil War. But they were a growing movement. And even though the Democrats did a really good job avoiding Texas, Texas is going to be the big issue. The Salt River was seen as the eastern or the western border of Texas. So you have all these pictures of them being dumped into the Salt River to get Texas. Ballooning was a big deal. And so here's Clay and Frelinghuysen popping Polk and Dallas's balloon. Here's Van Buren in the water. There's Andrew Jackson. That's a great cartoon, isn't it?
Why is Jackson in it?
Because it's Democrats, so they always got to put him in there. Here's another one. Now it's Polk and Dallas, and here's Clay and Frelinghuysen going into the water. The Salt River, yeah, I know. This one's even better. Now it's Clay and Frelinghuysen prancing over the Salt River, and there are the Democrats, and they can't do it. There's Polk, there's Jackson holding up, Van Buren's drowning.
What's the backpack say? It drops.
Huh?
It drops.
It's Thomas Hart Benson, and I don't know why there's mint drops. That one I cannot figure out. It's something 1844 made sense. But here's
Whoa.
the best cartoon. So the Beast, that's the Beast. Cloven hooves.
What is this? Like, what topic is this under? It's just like it's on the.
Well, these are all cartoons for the election.
Is it recreated? Yeah, I just.
So I'm just showing you how they use Texas as. And the Beast is Texas. And Polk is impaled through his neck. Doesn't look like he's going, right through his neck. Basically what it is Texas won't make him president. That might be the greatest political cartoon ever, just for the evil-looking Texas Beast thing.
What is that?
It's a beast.
Looks like it should be an no, what's the little show? Megan versus Beast. No.
All right, so,
Yes.
what?
Where the wild things are.
Yeah, someone mentioned that. That's that book was written after seeing that cartoon.
Love
may not have too, I have no idea, but someone said the same thing fourth period. The election of 1844, though, Polk would win, and he would win a national victory, meaning he won the majority in every section. Yeah, the popular vote was really close, but remember, all that matters is the Electoral College. A few thousand votes different in New York and Pennsylvania, and Clay would have been elected president. It was that close in those two states. Bernie, Whigs blended on Bernie, claiming that he took away votes from the Whigs, but as it turned out, it's pretty sure that he took away votes equally from both. Free soil Democrats, a lot of them voted for Bernie too. But Democrats would not win another national victory, meaning winning the majority of all the sections, again, for nearly 100 years. It would not be until FDR in 32.
Who wouldn't win for another 100 years? Who'd you say wouldn't win for another 100 years?
Democrats. Democrats wouldn't win a national victory where they win the majority in all the sections. It doesn't happen very often. But remember the election before, Harrison won the majority of all sections. The Whig. Now the Democrat did. Clay finally realized I can't win. It's probably going to have to be a general again. But what of Texas? Texas was still underlying everything. Yeah, because the thing is, all the issue about Texas was all underlying it. Now the election happened. And this is the big thing about the election. The big thing was this. To many people, by electing Polk meant the people wanted Texas. The term is, it was a referendum on Texas. The people want Texas. So Congress, when they would meet again in January of 1845 and reinforce Van Buren's independent treasury.
Is that one thing?
No, two things. Tariff and independent treasury. The independent treasury was basically a way, it would bridge the gap between the US government and then I'm printing money. It would go through the treasury, then to the banks. So bridge gap between the government and the banks. But it would be outside the banking system. It would do that until 1913. It would be replaced with the Federal Reserve, which is in place today. And then next, the very clever 1845 Oregon Treaty. Nobody wanted war. 5440 or 5 was just a slogan. And so what they did is they just extended the 49th parallel, which was done in 1918, extended it to the sea. They cut Oregon in half, and at least to the point of view of the United States and Britain, they got what they wanted. 1818, thank you. The 1818 line. They just extended it to the sea. And so Oregon, a very good treaty to the point of view of the US and Britain.
So they already had those? Are they from like Minnesota area?
Yeah, remember that's a Louisiana Purchase?
Okay.
And in 1818, Louisiana Purchase actually kind of went up into here. They just cut it off. And then they just extended it to the sea.
So then they got all that.
Mm-hmm. But the last one is going to be much more complex. Remember, Texas is already in the Union. Don't forget that. The Mexican-American War was not fought to annex Texas. The U.S. already had Texas. That's a common mistake people make. But California. Now the U.S. wants to buy California. California was seen to be an agricultural paradise, but also great harbors. They wanted that coast. Manifest destiny. And what we're leading to is, it didn't happen the way they hoped. Oh, we already got through Jackson. We're not going to listen to They Might Be Giants song. Oh. I like They Might Be Giants.
Or they kind of get classic.
Remind me, when was we have a song day? The Mexican-American War was also called the Mexican War. Well, I'm not going to be here on Thursday. No, I'll be here for you guys. I have to go to a curriculum meeting, which I'm now dreading more than normal. But I'll be down in the morning, I guess.
Well, thanks for coming back.
And everyone then called it the Mexican War, but in reality, it's the Mexican-American War. And whenever they have a war where they name the two countries, so the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, the Franco-Prussian War, when they name the two countries, the country that comes first, what do we know about them in the war? They lose. Yeah, you put the loser first. The
Oh,
loser
you need
comes.
to, like, ask her before happened?
Yeah.
I know they named before.
No, no.
Because I was like, wait a minute.
During when it happened, it was the Mexican War. Then after it became the Mexican-American War. Yeah, Mexico wanted to win, but they had the name, they had to lose. So, whenever you do that, it's the proper way in any kind of like this kind of war or competition like that. You put the loser first. That's the proper way, correct?
Right down.
So I always say this because some people get this incorrect. If you're talking about the two schools in Montana, colleges in Montana, right? Is properly categorized. Correct? Good. Okay. Third period, 3 people like Bobcat. Sweatshirts on. I enjoyed it immensely.
I don't care about
You know, I don't either, but some people do. Mr. Carter played for the Cats, so I really like to go out my way to tell him.
Yes. The whole family does.
Well, you know,
All
you make that big commitment.
like Anna.
James Slidell.
Not you. Not her.
James Slidell was sent down in November of 1845 to Mexico City. And basically, he wanted to make sure the Rio Grande would be the border.
Wait, John and James.
James.
It's like John.
Hmm?
Turn around. It goes to John.
Oh my goodness, that's not my fault. He's James. Slidell, the big thing was this. The Rio Grande would be the southern border. U.S. claimed that Mexico, U.S. citizens claimed Mexico owed them $3 million. The U.S. said, we'll pay that. And then buy New Mexico and California. So the big thing was, we wanted to buy New Mexico and California. Well, the Mexicans were furious. I mean, furious is not strong enough of a word to say how they reacted to the U.S. annexing that. In fact, they ousted Santa Anna. Santa Anna had to flee to Havana with him and all his wooden legs. Had to go to Havana. Havana then was the capital of Cuba, which was part of Spain then. And to get an idea how big this was, Mexico claimed all this area in orange. That's New Mexico. It's huge. And California is huge. So this is a massive area. So they got Slidell and they totally disregarded him. They ignored Slidell. Yeah.
So what's Rio Grande?
The Rio Grande is the southern border of, they want to make sure that's the southern border of Texas. If you look at this one real quick right here, the Rio Grande is this river. And so they said that's the southern border. Mexico claimed this as the Nueces River. And all this land then becomes part of the U.S. if the Rio Grande is the southern border. So it's a lot of land.
The forget U.S. claims.
U.S. citizens said that Mexico owed them $3 million. And so the U.S. said, we'll pay back, it's called claims, but the claims U.S. have on Mexico. The U.S. will forgive it. Actually, what it really means is the U.S. government will pay off what Mexico owes.
I'm confused with that.
U.S. citizens, either through bonds or various other things, claim that the government of Mexico owes them money. And that's why it's called U.S. claims. And so what the United States says, hey, we'll forgive those claims. You don't have to pay them back, is what the U.S. government is saying, if you give us California and New Mexico. And so what happened was Zachary Taylor. Zachary Taylor is a very prominent general. In fact, here's a picture of Zachary. Has a great nickname. First off, all nicknames starts with what? No. Old. He's Old Rough and Ready. Old Rough and Ready sounds a lot like Old Hickory and Old Tippecanoe. So he was beloved by his soldiers. He was ordered by Polk to go with a couple thousand soldiers, and you can see it better on this map. This area here is what Mexico claims is the United States. U.S. claims all this. Nobody doubts this area south of the Rio Grande is Mexico. That's Mexico. So what Polk orders Taylor to do is march south to the mouth of the Rio Grande in contested area. Because if they're going to ignore Slidell, Polk has to come up with another way to get it. What's he hoping that Mexico will do? If Taylor marches with a relatively small force of U.S. soldiers here. Do what? Who will go there? And what will happen if Mexicans go here? They'll be on U.S. land. They're hoping. But what they really hope? U.S. soldiers, Mexican soldiers come up. What are they hoping the Mexicans will do?
Fight.
Yeah, fight. Attack U.S. soldiers and give the U.S. an excuse to go to war. He's trying to provoke war. If the Mexicans attack American forces, he can claim, we were just there on the U.S. border. Taylor, who actually was a Whig, Taylor was not a Democrat. Taylor didn't like this plan, but he began to aggressively patrol here with soldiers trying to provoke the Mexicans. By the way, that's a picture of Zachary Taylor. This was taken during the war. You really should get that looked at. I would say doctors should come in and do a biopsy or something.
Wait, is that not just on the picture?
But
You
they just
can't
want
do
to.
this to me.
It's just a bubble in the glass. It doesn't look just horrible like, oh, that's melanoma. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Well, it happened. It's called the Thornton Affair. But on April 25th, 1845, U.S. dragoons were attacked by Mexican soldiers. And this would become the excuse. This Thornton Affair, where U.S. troops, U.S. dragoons, were attacked by Mexican soldiers, would be the justification to declare war on Mexico. What's a dragoon? Who doesn't have a dragoon?
It's a dragon.
It's a fire-breathing lizard that's in the army.
That works too.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't use it anymore. Who can handle a fire-breathing dragon?
Dragon.
A dragoon is light cavalry. They have a sword and a carbine, which is basically, literally was a shortened rifle. Light cavalry. They were attacked.
This allows the U.S. to declare war.
This would be the justification. When it got back to Washington, D.C. about a week and a half later, Polk would say, this was an unprovoked attack on American soil, and this would be the justification. Now, the thing was, the vote was pretty overwhelming for war. But about 6 months into the war, going into 1840, or end of 1846, 1847, what you have to write is many Northerners, Free Soilers, especially Whigs, became against the war. Whigs and Free Soilers, because they saw it as expansion of slave territory. Whigs and Free Soilers. There were a bunch of Free Soil Whigs and Northern Democrats a bunch of Free Soilers were elected in 1846 to Congress against the war. Yeah.
Why were the Whigs against slave, like more slave?
Northern Whigs because they were more Free Soil. They didn't want the expansion of slave power.
Okay.
And they didn't want the system of slavery to go into more territories. Yeah.
The Thornton Affair was the Mexicans attack.
Yeah. The American Dragoons were under the command of a Captain Floyd. So he's the American commander. And
America was on the Mexican border when.
it was on, we claimed it was north of the Rio Grande.
So isn't that where Taylor was patrolling?
So Taylor sent him out, yeah. So it worked. One of the Whigs who was elected in 1846 in the wave of anti-war feeling in the North was Abraham Lincoln. This would be Abraham Lincoln's first electoral victory. So you have to write that. Abraham Lincoln was elected to the House as a Whig. It comes back to the Thornton Affair, so I'm tying it together. Lincoln would only be elected one term. He'd be removed after the war was over. He didn't win re-election. You know, everybody, we won. We don't want anti-war people, regardless of why that was fought. Lincoln, though, made one very important resolution. It's called, write down the Spot Resolution. And in the Spot Resolution, Abraham Lincoln stood up and said what many people were wondering. He said, show us the spot where American blood was shed in the Thornton Affair. Because he believed what a lot of Whigs and a lot of Free Soilers believed, that they were actually south of the Rio Grande. That America was patrolling south of the Rio Grande to provoke an attack. And this really wasn't north of the river. And that means the entire justification for war was a lie. That's the spot resolution. It's implying that the justification for the Mexican War was a lie. Drummed up to get the United States into a war of conquest. Now, a couple things about that. To this day, we have no idea. We have no idea exactly where it was. But we do know this. American cavalry were patrolling on the south side of the Rio Grande. And so there's a very good chance this whole thing started south of the Rio Grande. The Rio Grande is really shallow, so it's really easy to cross back and forth. But we don't know. But Polk said it absolutely happened on U.S. soil north of the Rio Grande. He didn't know that, but he said it. So what does it mean? What was he doing?
Why?
Yeah, he lied. Yeah. And so there's little doubt. We don't know for sure. And it's hiding. That was the goal, to get an attack. Or to intimidate the Mexicans so they just give us the land. Now, good news for all of you, this will never happen again.
What?
There'll be causes for war that will be misleading or embellished or not the truth. It will never happen again. So rest easy, you can sleep well tonight. Except for the Spanish-American War, issues going into all sorts of invasions of Latin America, the Vietnam War, Panama, Grenada, and of course Iraq. Yeah, this is going to be the norm. It's going to happen again. And something else happened. Now the U.S. is at war. Oh, almost forgot. Texas put this up after the Civil War. And what's the first thing? Do you see it?
Where American blood was shed on American soil.
This is saying, as bluntly as I can say it, Lincoln, go to hell. This was where it happened, and Abraham Lincoln was wrong, and we hate Abraham Lincoln.
But then it's president.
Huh?
Then he was president.
No, they made this after the Civil War.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do, it really has nothing to do with the actual Mexican-American War. What it is we hate Lincoln, and so we're going to let Lincoln was wrong then, like he was wrong during the Civil War, and we still hate him. Lincoln would not be popular in the South. There would be no Democratic Party in the South, no Republican Party in the South until the Civil Rights Movement, because the Republican Party was the party of Lincoln, which is ironic because the Republican Party is very much a Southern party now. So let's do one thing really quick then. Let's finish this up. The Bear Flag Republic then would be started. And you got to get this out. The Bear Flag Republic was the California Republic. They too revolted, kind of like Texas did. They revolted against the Mexican rule, but one important thing, an American mapping expedition under the United States Army with a company of men under John C. Fremont, yes, it really is, the Pathfinder, they joined the California Revolt. And the U.S. pushed California to revolt. And so California would become independent, but that would justify annexing later. This is the flag of California, but it burnt in the 1906 San Francisco fire after the earthquake, so all we have is that picture. I'll finish this tomorrow. Oh, what do we have tomorrow? What is due tomorrow? On chapter 12. 10 questions, be quick with the matching, should be no sweat. U.S. What I meant is the U.S. government kind of helping this one. We were encouraging it, looking for an excuse to get California. Exactly. Have a great day, everybody.
So isn't that where Taylor was patrolling?
So Taylor sent him out, yeah. So it worked. One of the Whigs who was elected in 1846 in the wave of anti-war feeling in the North was Abraham Lincoln. This would be Abraham Lincoln's first electoral victory. So you have to write that. Abraham Lincoln was elected to the House as a Whig. It comes back to the Thornton curve, so I'm tying it together. Lincoln would only be elected one term. He'd be removed after the war was over. He didn't win re-election. You know, everybody, we won. We don't want anti-war people, regardless of why they was fought. Lincoln, though, made one very important resolution. It's called, write down the Spot Resolution. And in the Spot Resolution, Abraham Lincoln stood up and said what many people were wondering. He said, show us the spot where American blood was shed in the Thornton affair. Because he believed what a lot of Whigs and a lot of Free Soilers believed, that they were actually south of the Rio Grande. That America was patrolling south of the Rio Grande to provoke an attack. And this really wasn't north of the river. And that means the entire justification for war was a lie. That's the Spot Resolution. It's implying that the justification for the Mexican War was a lie. Drummed up to get the United States into a war of conquest. Now, a couple things about that. To this day, we have no idea. We have no idea exactly where it was. But we do know this. American cavalry were patrolling on the south side of the Rio Grande. And so there's a very good chance this whole thing started south of the Rio Grande. The Rio Grande is really shallow, so it's really easy to cross back and forth. But we don't know. But Polk said it absolutely happened on U.S. soil north of the Rio Grande. He didn't know that, but he said it. So what does it mean? What was he doing?
Why?
And he lied. Yeah. And so there's little doubt. We don't know for sure. And it's hiding. That was the goal, to get an attack, or to intimidate the Mexicans so they just give us the land. Now, good news for all of you: this will never happen again.
What?
There'll be causes for war that will be misleading or embellished or not the truth. It will never happen again. So rest easy. You can sleep well tonight. Except for the Spanish-American War, issues going into all sorts of invasions of Latin America, the Vietnam War, Panama, Grenada, and of course Iraq. Yeah, this is going to be the norm. It's going to happen again. And something else happened. Now the U.S. is at war. Oh, almost forgot. Texas put this up after the Civil War. And what's the first thing? Do you see it?
Where American blood was shed on American soil.
This is saying, as bluntly as I can say it, Lincoln, go to hell. This was where it happened, and Abraham Lincoln was wrong, and we hate Abraham Lincoln. Huh? No, they made this after the Civil War.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do, it really has nothing to do with the actual Mexican-American War. What it is we hate Lincoln, and so we're going to let Lincoln was wrong then, like he was wrong during the Civil War, and we still hate him. Lincoln would not be popular in the South. There would be no Democratic Party in the South, or I'm sorry, no Republican Party in the South until the Civil Rights Movement, because the Republican Party was the party of Lincoln, which is ironic because the Republican Party is very much a Southern party now. So let's do one thing really quick then. Let's finish this up. The Bear Flag Republic then would be started. And you got to get this down. The Bear Flag Republic was the California Republic. They too revolted, kind of like Texas did. They revolted against the Mexican rule, but one important thing, an American mapping expedition under the United States Army with a company of men under John C. Fremont, yes, it really is, the Pathfinder, they joined the California Revolt. And the U.S. pushed California to revolt. And so California would become independent, but that would justify annexing later. This is the flag of California, but it burnt in the 1906 San Francisco fire after the earthquake, so all we have is that picture. I'll finish this tomorrow. Oh, what do we have tomorrow? What is due tomorrow? On chapter 12. 10 questions, be quick with the matching, should be no sweat. US. What I meant is the US government's kind of helping this one. We were encouraging it, looking for an excuse to get California. Exactly. Have a great day, everybody!